Hey YouTube, it's Sandra back again with another YouTube video with Black Knight Studios. If you haven't already, and if you want to follow my journey as a comic book artist, please hit the subscribe button below. And you can follow weekly updates on how I tell my story and what I'm working on currently. So, as far as the weekly update for this week is simple. It was just writing. And I finally was able to sit down and write. So starting what was on Sunday, I set a timer. I'm going to write 30 minutes a day until the story gets written, like until it's finalized, before I get to the storyboarding, and before I design Moline and Norton, before I finish those two guys. But, so I finally have completed, well, not completed. So I know like the first 2 days I was able to hit to 30 minutes, the first 2-3 days. But as of recording this, I kind of slipped up a little bit. Like it was kind of tricky. Like I did 10 minutes here. There's another day I only did like 15 or 20 minutes, So it's definitely not easy being the writer versus the artist. Like I just have to, draw and everything, and it's the end of the week, it's already October. I'm recording this on October 2nd, 2025. The leaves are changing, but you know what that means? It's starting to get colder, and just know I'm not looking forward to it. I just want to survive winter, and I live for the summer, guys. Like I live for the summer, and there's no changing my mind about that, unfortunately. But, besides the weather, hopefully when Weston, Francis, Norton, and Moline are in the dead, they have nice warm weather down there. Maybe I should draw some palm trees in and Francis's graveyard. Like I'm thinking of setting up his graveyard as like a building, like it's like a fancy schmancy building. It has like a VR set. There's going to be like a fancy cruise ship like buildings and shit like that, so that's going to be that. And versus Weston's building is like basically a rundown dump, it's an abandoned building, very like grotesque, like graffiti art all over the place. So that's going to be kind of fun. And Moline and Norton obviously want to go to Francis's graveyard versus Weston's, but of course Francis is the villain and Weston is the good guy, of course. Don't want to give out too much of the story, but people don't really think about villains or good guys or anything. They just kind of want to go where it's good, so they're gonna go somewhere good. A little preview there. And the characters are obviously designed. I finally started to get around with Norton's character. I went into ChatGPT and tried to run some ideas for like a grunge styled one, and I don't know, like I've using my Pinterest board with that as well. So that's been kind of helping me, design it. And right now I'm just like working on a 5-point perspective study, or more like a 360 cubic study, like it's like a curvilinear perspective, trying to improve some artwork, because I have some concept art in mind. So once I design the character, first of all, I need to finish the story. Hopefully in the next week or so, I should be done with it. I might want to read through it. I'm just going to kind of go through it. I feel like the best thing to do is originally I wanted to be a writer. I wanted to write screenplays, go to LA, that's what I originally intended to do with my life when I was back in high school, right? So this is the closest thing I'm doing. But then I discovered art when I was 19, when I was in college, and I was like, oh, okay, this is pretty cool. Like I am, it's kind of fun drawing. I always wanted to draw. I still distinctly remember in my math class there was this guy, and he I was like sitting there randomly holding a pencil. It's like do you draw? And I'm like, no, I wish. So, I still remember that day. I was like 18 at the time, when I was young and everything. But I remember he asked me that, and it was pretty cool. Like he was an artist, like he did comic books, he drew like real life portraits and stuff. So that was really cool. So it kind of inspired me back then. And I don't know, I was like thinking about that day. I still think about it. I was like, oh yeah, then I started wanting to draw and yada yada, and I'm on this journey right now. Writing all these comic book scripts right now. And then of course, as much as I want to go back and re-edit stuff, but I feel like I'll just let it flow, I do better telling the story when I am actually drawing it. So once I get to the storyboard phase, I feel like it'll be so much easier to write it, you know what I mean? Like, I don't know, like Akira Toriyama actually did this, basically. He was able to to like, he kind of like wrote the story as I go along. I kind of am just going along, like I wrote like a rough draft, but I feel like the story will be a lot shorter than Spirits of the West, which is good, you know, like I'm not looking for the story to be serious. It's just a very simple story, a good guy versus bad guy. Like, it's so predictable that I'm assuming you guys already know what's going to really happen with the story. You got the good guy and the bad guy. Of course, you want to team up with the good or the bad guy, you know, like nothing too crazy. You got Wes, the good guy. You got Francis, the slimy businessman. Weston, the good guy with the heart, but really bad at business. So, you know, and then of course characters want the fancy stuff, but then they realize, you know, maybe Francis is up to something no good, you know, like you guys probably already know. I don't want to, like, I'm not going to give out the details or anything, but that's kind of the gist of the story, you know. You have classic Cadillacs, you got a truck, you got grunge, Metallica, and graffiti art, and the dead. I think that's pretty good, and I think the Day of the Dead is coming up soon, in 30 days, well, actually in next month, actually. Dia de los Muertos, or Halloween, is coming up. So I think this is a good little thing to, maybe I should draw them like in a Halloween costume or something. That would be pretty dope, you know? Like, oh my God, like that would be pretty cool. Yeah, I'm here at my usual spot recording, and you know, I don't know, I just started laughing because, I don't know, I feel like people will be like looking at me all weird, like, who is she talking to? She's probably on the phone. I am technically on the phone talking to YouTube, my followers and everybody. You know, they didn't make eye contact. I didn't make eye contact either, but it's kind of, you know, nerve-wracking, not nerve-wracking, but yeah. Got my studio here. You know, I guess I could show you guys all my beautiful studio of a car. And that's all about what I go. And as far as, you know, good guy versus bad guy, and, you know, how my little journey started, I don't know, I still want to do, like, I do want to do some, like, live action stuff. I mean, I have done, like, live action. Like, I made the Attack of the Mothman. My God, that movie, that, like, was, like, 2-minute long. I shot last week. It was, last year. Is so cringy. It's so cheesy. You guys can follow it. I'm gonna link it in the below below this video. But I don't know. I'm not gonna try to do too much live action. We'll focus on comic books and art and stuff. I do want to do the concept art. I already have some ideas once the characters are designed. Like, I'm thinking of some really cool perspective drawings. I do want to get my characters to be more expressive, like having some fun together. I don't know. I think it'll be fun to figure stuff out, because I'm not really good at illustration. I feel like sometimes I'm not good at illustration or concept art, but I don't know. I hope I could finish my curvilinear stuff. Anyways, guys.